Hello guys and welcome back. So this week I'm going to show you guys how I grow Monte Carlo without any CO2 and just basic equipment. So 1 month ago now I set up this very small iwagumi tank. If you guys are interested in the materials I use for this build, the tank size, the light, for rocks, all that stuff, I'm gonna insert the playlist card above if you guys want to check that out. After that first video came out, I was starting to get a lot of questions about growing carpeting plants without CO2, if it was even possible, if it was difficult to do, how I was doing it. So this is the whole point of this video, is to take you guys along these first 30 days of this tank and how I grow all my carpeting plants without any CO2 at all. And it's a pretty straightforward and basic method. You're not going to be needing anything fancy to do this. So by all means, don't get me wrong, CO2 is a great tool to have. You can use it to regulate your pH, to grow your plants faster. It's a very diverse tool and it's a very useful one too. So I have 6 tanks here that are running without CO2 and they're doing pretty well. I have full carpets, I'm growing red plants as well without any difficulty. I also have like rotala bonsai, which is quite hard to grow without CO2, and everything is doing really well. So on my end, I don't see the point of using it. That doesn't mean it isn't a good tool. Okay, let's jump straight in. This is what the tank looked like the first day after I had finished planting it and filled it up. The light was on 45% of intensity, and I'm just going to let it sit like that for a whole week. This is what it looked like the second week. So a lot of progress when we compare it to what it was looking at the first week. We can see a clear difference. So again, it didn't do anything to the tank, didn't water change. I just left it as it is. So after 2 weeks of letting the tank sit, it was time for a good cleanup. So the camera doesn't pick it up too well, but there was algae on the glass. So what I like to do is I like to scrape all the glass panels of the aquarium, so the front, the sides, really to get rid of this residual dust algae that can be sitting on the glass. That is something you really want to be vigilant about and keep an eye out for, is algae. If you see that there's some algae building up in your tank, don't hesitate to clean it out manually, do a water change, really keep an eye on it. This is what the tank looked like straight after glass cleaning, so pretty good. There's a good density we can see on the images compared to week 1. Massive change. So we can see how much density has appeared. We can also see that the carpeting plants have really started to grow horizontally. So the second week, so far so good. There were no major issues whatsoever. The tank was doing pretty well. I do know that the third week, the tank really starts to get into its cycle, and we can see here, there's a small algae breakout, but it's very small. It's again diatoms, which is normal when the tank is cycling. There's a little bit of green algae again on the glass, so nothing a good water change and a good cleanup can't actually fix. If you do find that at the end of the second week, going into your third week, you are getting a lot of dust algae, maybe some hair algae, maybe look into how strong your light actually is. Maybe, toning down your light for the third week, taking maybe 20% off the light. Sometimes it does help in reducing algae. And again, I've chosen not to water change till the actual third week. If you're scared of getting algae, if you're not used to it, maybe you can start to water change once a week if you really want to be on the safe side. But again, I'm used to it. I just choose not to do it, especially with these small tanks. I just want to be on the safe side. Sometimes when you change such a small volume of water, you can come and disrupt the cycle, especially when there's a very small volume. There's been also quite a lot of evaporation, but again, completely normal because I haven't touched the tank in 3 weeks. I haven't even topped it off. So that's maybe, I don't know, something like 2 liters of evaporation. I've also just turned on the central heating because it started to snow outside. So yeah, the tank is sitting around 24 degrees. So that's not a bad temperature here. It's not on the cold side. So that also explains that much evaporation. So after scraping the glass, just like in week 2, it's time to bust out my secret weapon, which is a bent toothbrush. So this is great if you get a hard bristled toothbrush. You can really go and clean your rocks with it. Like all the algae just flies off. So again here, this is a step that's important. I like to take my time and really make sure I get like all the algae off the rocks. So some people are going to prefer a more natural look to their tank. They're going to leave some algae on it, which is completely fine. But it's just you want to be careful, especially the first few months of your brand new setup tank, is to be very careful with algae. So if that means manually removing it a lot more than you would with an established tank, that's completely fine. Let's remember that this tank is not completely cycled yet. It's going to be cycled in another week or so. So being very careful not to leave any algae in the water column as well. Another great usage of this super tool is to be able to clean the seams of your aquarium in the most utter safety. You don't have to worry about slicing them open with the razor blade. So this is the safe way to clean your tank. So after all that cleaning, it was finally time to do the tank's very first water change. So third week, first water change. So I did a 50% water change. So it's a pretty reasonable amount to be changing here. I didn't want to do anything too crazy. So again, I've had quite a few questions on what kind of water I'm using. I'm just using regular tap water. It's not reverse osmosis. So it's just your basic city water. And we can now see how good the tank is looking. So it's looking so much better than when it was completely covered in that dust algae. So I like to finish off all my maintenance session in the same way. I just use this product to clean the glass. So this is a product that doesn't contain any ammonia, any of that nasty stuff sometimes we can find in window spray. So this is just a safe way to clean the glass and to really take off all the little water stains. So by all means, you don't need to be using a special product to clean your aquarium glass. You can just use, some warm water, some whatever you want to use. So these images here are about 2 days later. So this is when I start fertilizing the aquarium. So here I'm going to be using products from Seachem. So I'm using Excel. So this is a liquid carbon. I use this as a mild algicide. So it's just going to really keep algae at bay. So I'm going to use this for a good month. And then a small dose of Advance. So this really stimulates the plants to grow slightly faster. And this is what the tank looks like coming into the 4th week. So it's looking great. The plants are looking vibrant. There's no algae whatsoever. So we can see how well Excel from Seachem works. Not a trace of it at all. So the light is now on 50%. So it was currently on 45. So the 4th week, I've put it up 5% more. There is a little bit of evaporation again. So no big deal. Just going to top that off. So after topping off the tank, well, you guessed it, it was time to scrape the glass again. So at this point, I think you guys have realized how important it is to do your weekly maintenance. So not everybody's going to be cleaning their glass as much as I do. Obviously, for filming purposes, it's better if you guys can actually see what I'm doing. But yeah, I just really like to keep on top of my weekly maintenance. On these images, we can also see the tank that is on the far left. So it's a full carpet of hair grass, and I grew it with exactly the same method I'm showing you guys today. So you can do this with any carpeting plant. So later on in the evening, that same day, after testing the tank, everything was good. So it was time to add the shrimp. So there are a lot of shrimp in this Pinder feeder cave tank that I have. So I have a bunch of clear shrimp that I really, really like. So these are the ones that I'm going to put in the Iwagumi scape. I could have chosen to put in high quality red shrimp, blue shrimp. I have yellow shrimp as well. I have a lot of shrimp. But I really wanted something natural. I didn't want the shrimp to take anything away from the scape. And I kind of wanted to keep that natural look. So this is why I'm going for these more transparent looking wild shrimp. So a lot of people are not going to like these kind of shrimp. They are considered to be lower grade kind of shrimp. But here on my channel, we don't discriminate on colors of shrimp. So I keep all of them. I just end up separating them into different kind of tanks. But yeah, I don't cull hardcore. I really just keep all my shrimp because I really do like them. So after what seemed to be an eternity of trying to catch these shrimp, because the tank is very small and it is kind of hard to maneuver with the net inside the tank, it was finally time to drip acclimate the shrimp. So people were going to argue again, there's no need to drip acclimate your shrimp. Because the tanks are at the same temperature, this and that. It's not about that. It's obviously when you have a lot of lava rock in your tank, the pH is higher. So on this Iwagumi scape, the pH is actually sitting at 6.8. So it is a lower pH, and that's why I am drip acclimating the shrimp. The last thing I want to do, especially there's a few buried shrimp here, I don't want them to drop their eggs. So there's no need in shocking the shrimp. So I just drip acclimate them for about 30 minutes. So as usual guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next Monday for a Christmas special where I'm going to show you guys how to make a Christmas tree out of moss for your aquariums. That's going to be a pretty fun video, so I will see you guys next Monday.